is living in Spain as good as people make out? I will actually say a lot of people have left Spain over there since the crash. But a lot of them were relying on other Brits to actually maintain their lifestyles. So as that declined, so did the opportunities to actually make money. But the reality is, Spain, if you learn Spanish and everything, embed yourself in the actual country, you'll find that life in Spain is pretty good. It's like this morning, I've dropped Zoe off at school. I've got an annoying van parked next to me that's great for this video. Let me wind the window up. The point being is, I dropped Zoe off at school because she's at summer school. Ubi doesn't want to go to summer school. He'd rather spend the time around the house with me and his mum. So they're quite happy doing that. But the point is, drop Zoe off at school, then down to the supermarket. As you can see, we've got blue skies. That's something that's pretty unique in the UK. Here in Spain, even in November, although it's obviously a little bit colder, it's still blue skies. We don't get much rain here. So the weather's pretty good all the time for us. Although I've got to admit, other bits of Spain aren't so lucky. But where we are, we seem like in a little eco-climate, so we don't really suffer with bad weather. But it's the whole lifestyle thing. I mean, like I said, I've dropped Zoe off at school, gone to the supermarket, April's doing the shopping, I'm doing this quick video, and then we'll go back to the house and I'll start work. Because the UK is an hour behind, it means that in the UK they start at 9, I start at 10, which suits me, because I'm not an early morning person. I'll quite happily work till midnight, but I do not like getting up early in the morning. It's not because I'm lazy, it's just the fact is I'm not a morning person. I'm an afternoon, work late, work in the night type person. I've always been like that. But at the same time, it suits everybody. Yeah, finding work is not easy, but creating work can be. English teaching is one of the ones many people do. It's not hard to actually get into it and get yourself a few students going. Currently got Mark in the Philippines at the moment. He started doing it a couple of months back. He's already making enough to live on in the Philippines, and I'm sure if he did it for another couple of months, he'd have enough to live in Spain as well. The thing is, you develop your little business over time. One of the things I would say about construction, though, is construction guys are 10 a penny. It's one of the problems, I suppose, because you've got an influx from not just the UK, but Eastern Europe and other places, which will undercut you. So you have to develop quite a good business if that's what you think they're doing. But you have to remember, so many people have come to Spain already, and I'm going to be a builder. You can guess where it goes. I mean, there's enough properties around, but there are enough people investing in them, because obviously a lot of the market still hasn't recovered. The new market's selling well. The old market, I think a lot of people are keeping hold of properties now, because the prices still haven't gone up. But the bizarre thing is, a new property can cost 30% more than an old property of the same size. Don't know why. Is the quality any better? I don't think so. The locations often aren't. So I cannot understand why people would want a new property over an old one that's 30% cheaper. And that's coming from a surveyor. So yeah, I mean, there's still bargains to have on the housing front. But generally, life's more relaxed. That's the main thing. Nobody's in a rush, you know. Although a lot of people, I know when you go to Barcelona, Madrid, whatever, it's a bit different. I mean, I've been to Barcelona, and it's the worst place I've ever driven. Bearing in mind, we were driving in Paris before we went to Barcelona, and I didn't find Paris too bad. It was only, I suppose the worst bit was round the Arc de Triomphe, And if you're not a what would you call it, confident driver, I recommend not going anywhere near there. It's people shoot out the roads like missiles, because it's just ridiculous. But Madrid and Barcelona will be a lot busier, because obviously everyone's got that rat race thing. But living on the coast, most people are in holiday mode, or they're elderly, so people aren't in a rush for anything. Nobody's bothered. It's just a case of getting on with life and doing what you want. Like I said, finding work may be difficult, but creating work may be easier. There's lots of stuff that you could look at doing that you may not have thought of. I know there's a guy down a bit further down the coast to me. He does dancing. He teaches like older women how to dance. Well, I say older women, I'm sure if the guys went along they could dance as well. But the whole point is, that's what he does. I mean, he used to sell swimming pools and stuff. Changed his lifestyle. And that's the thing, you just got to adapt. Myself, I teach English when I've got time, but at the moment I've got enough work till next year. So I'm not really fussed on making any extra money at the minute, because I've got enough stuff coming in. You have to put yourself out there a bit more than you may do in the UK, especially if you're not learning Spanish, because you're not going to get work. Isn't going to come to you. You've got to find it. I do recommend learning Spanish, and I do think it will take you several years to get to grips with it. I was talking to my friend Igor a couple of weeks back about learning Spanish, how long it took him, and it took him 5 years. Now, bearing in mind, what he said was, when he first come here, he would spend most of his time with people from Ukraine and Russia, so he never spoke Spanish. But then when he moved into a Spanish community, like, well, it's my neighbour, we don't actually have anybody in the area around us that we actually speak English to. Not that we're ignorant, it's just that we don't actually have that many people in the area that speak English. So you start to learn to speak Spanish because nobody will speak English to you. And that's how you improve your Spanish a lot quicker. Immerse yourself in it. People will correct you over time. They appreciate the fact that you're trying. I was quite impressed. I was at the Foreigners Office on Friday, and I spoke to the police officer in there completely in Spanish, and he actually understood what I was saying, and I understood what he said. So I'm getting there. But yeah, Spanish life is pretty good. Food's good, climate's good. People can be a bit up and down, but we find La Mata has the tourist influx mainly from Barcelona and Madrid, so they're a bit more rowdy than the local Spanish. A lot of beeping their horn, being loud, etc. But it's holiday season. Same anywhere in the world. I know where my parents live in the UK, they get the students as neighbours, because Worcester University has decided to buy up half of Worcester and turn it into a student town. Fantastic. But yeah, I love Spain. Thanks for watching.